If I make money at the expense of the community, how sustainable is that? Can we have both? Can we make profit and still think about every other person? Today I want to speak on something interesting. I will call it stomach infrastructure. I'll speak on stomach infrastructure. So, stomach infrastructure was used by a popular Nigerian politician. And he referred to a system where just before election, people come, they give you handouts at different levels. So no matter where you are, the gifts may differ, but no matter how much gifts you are given, it wouldn't last for the 4 years. So irrespective of who was the better candidate, irrespective of other things, because of stomach infrastructure, people may go the other way. Today I'll speak of stomach infrastructure in a bit of a different light. To say, stomach infrastructure is a system where people make short-term decisions and think about themselves only. It's a bit of a selfish position. It's about me, it's about my stomach, it's about what will benefit me today. I'm a businessman, so I like profit, I like business. I do things for money. But I want to draw a line between a selfish position and stomach infrastructure. I don't know if that makes sense. I go into business for my self-interest. That's very different from a selfish position. Adam Smith said that the baker does not wake up in the morning. The baker wakes up in the morning to provide bread, not because he likes us, but because of his own self-interest. But in doing that, he provides jobs, he provides opportunities for every other person. That's different from selfish interest. In selfish interest, I'm looking out for myself, but I don't care what happens to every other person. But the problem with that is it's a greedy position. It's a greedy position and it's not sustainable. I'll tell you a few stories. Sometime 2005 or thereabouts, in Lagos, Fashola was the governor at the time. A man built a mall. It was a big mall somewhere in Bagada. Was that good for himself? However, the problem is that mall was along the waterways, along the canal. So what would happen every year is that the whole community would get flooded. Guess who got affected the most? The children in that area. So the data was there. Now, is it possible for him to have made that same profit, but just sparing a thought for other people? We've become somewhat selfish. These days it's about me, it's about my belly, it's about what I can get. And I just want us to have a rethink about it. Because you see, if I make money at the expense of the community, how sustainable is that? Can we have both? Can we make profit and still think about every other person? I'll tell you another story about a friend of mine who was working for a multinational. Now, he was well paid. But somewhere along the way, he found out that the local office was underpaying everybody under him. And he raised it up to say, guys, we have this money. This is what is recommended. Can we do what's right? And they tried to dance around. And after a while, they called him and said, we'll double your pay, but look the other way. The question is, should he have taken it or not? I'm not going to say it's easy, because sometimes when you're even trying to look out for other people, you can get into trouble yourself. But for how long would we look the other way? And sometimes we give it nice names. Stomach infrastructure is interesting because it doesn't always refer to the rich. At different levels, just like greed, you find things like that. So, for the woman who is selling stuff at Utako, she's selling banana, and she needs to make money, then she uses carbide to ripen that banana. It's not good for our health, but she doesn't send because she needs profit. What does she call that? Hustle. We give it a nicer name. For the guy who says, in In fact, someone said to me, no, they're not fake drugs, they're just substandard. So it's not up to standard, but it's not fake. But we call it nice names. What do we call it? Hustle. That's stomach infrastructure. But you see, if we look back, there was a time when in our country, when you were going out in the morning, they would tell you, remember whose son you are. We don't hear that again because many parents have lost the right to say that, because if I steal money and I go home and I tell my daughters, remember whose daughter you are. If I have stolen money, I don't want them to remember actually. So what am I saying in a nutshell? The horizon is limitless actually. Nigeria has opportunities. Nigeria has to do bigger businesses. We need to create companies, we need to create jobs. But I'm concerned how we do it. We need to do it right, if not it will implode. One big house cannot make an estate no matter how big the house is. And if you do real estate, you realize that it's not just the value of your house, it's also the value of other houses around. If you make money these days in Nigeria and you open your phone, the amount of help me is a lot. So we need to do bigger businesses, but it's important that we do it right. It's important that we think beyond our bellies. That's my story here today as short and sharp. I'll talk about another kind of stomach infrastructure, which does not lead as bad, is not as greedy. In Nigeria today, we have a lot of medium-scale businesses who can do more. But the question is, why should they do more? If my goal from day one was to live a soft life, the truth is that you don't need a lot of money to live a soft life. So I'm fine, my family is fine. Why should I do more? Why should I take a risk? I'm a big fan of Aliko Dangote, and sometimes you just wonder, why does he do what he's doing? Why is he building more? Because if it's about your needs and your needs alone, there's nothing to look forward to. But if you realize that for every big business you grow, people are employed. More people are employed. Out of that, your business, some people will step out and do bigger things. If you look at profits as being beyond me and my family, if we measure profits as being beyond financial benefits, there's a secondary benefit to profit. I just want us to look at things from that angle so that we can build a better Nigeria. Sometimes I cringe. People ask me how I've grown my business. And sometimes in growing your business, you have to raise money on the street. And you see people who are okay, but you still give out business loans to those guys, that young startup. Sometimes as ridiculous as 80% per annum. How sustainable is that? Can you think beyond yourself? When I was 7 in Kano, there was a guy, Samson. I met Samson in Kano. He accommodated me and he was kind to me. And so he gave me a loan of what would be about $1,000. And things did not go well. And so I went back to him cap in hand and he said, Obinna, I knew there was a risk that associated to this idea, but this is the 4th time you had come to me. So I just decided to take a chance at you. So I'm not angry. Today, I can give out, I'm not saying that you should come to me. I can do that, but because someone took a chance. I just want us to measure profits beyond me, my family. I just want us to measure profits beyond my belly. I just want us to think about what's good for the next man. So by all means, pursue selfish interest, but avoid selfish interest. Thank you very much.